Bonita's Kitchen, and what I'm going to be making for you today is baked ham and homemade scalloped potatoes. So let's get started. Okay, so I got a smoked pork picnic ham, and I'm going to cut it out of the plastic. Yes, I'm going to pull off the rest of the plastic. So what I'm going to do now is take this full ham with its wrap, it's in a little wrap, and put it into my boiler. And I got the boiler half full. I'm going to add with that a full onion. I got it cut into cubes, and I'm going to put a tablespoonful of black peppercorn. So I'm going to take this now to my boiler. Right, now I'm going to put it in the boiler so it's half full of water. Okay, I'm going to put the full onion, and I got to cut into cubes, and a tablespoonful of peppercorn, and I'm going to time this for about at least 2 hours boiling, because I want for it to be boiled to the point that it's coming off the bone that's in there. So let me just add this to the boiler. Okay, so now I'm going to add in my onion. So I already put the peppercorn in there. Alright, so I'm going to show you now what it looks like in the boiler. Okay, so keep it in the boiler like this for about 2 hours, and you can keep a watch on it because you don't want for it to boil over. But half full your boiler with water, and have your water preheated on medium heat. And while we're waiting for this to boil, I could make our sauce to go over the ham. So what we're going to be making now is our glaze, our sauce to go over the ham when we put it into the oven. But right now, like you said, it's boiling on medium heat, and we'll keep it there up to 2 hours. So we got 1 cup of brown sugar. You could use the light brown sugar or the dark brown sugar, it don't matter. We're going to have 1 can of crushed pineapple. I put it in a container, but it's a full can, and the juice, because we need that juice to go over it as well. So we're going to let this simmer down for just a moment. And now while it's boiling, we're going to make a little bit of a cornstarch paste to go into it. So it's going to be a tablespoonful of cornstarch put into about 1/4 cup of water, and just stir this up until it's all dissolved in there. And this is going to also go in to your little pot here with your pineapple and your brown sugar. Okay, so this is starting to look really good. So this is 1/4 cup of water, cold water, and a tablespoonful of cornstarch, and we got it put into a cup of brown sugar and a can of crushed pineapples. Now you can have fully crushed or just cubes. I got cubes here now. So stir this until it starts to thicken, and then take it off the heat and place it to the side, because this is going to be our glaze to go over a ham when we get it ready to go in the oven. Okay, so what we'll start with now is making our scalloped potatoes. So I got 4 medium-sized potatoes. So we're going to cut them in very thin slices, almost like paper thin, if you can do it. Probably use a knife that got a little bit of a blade on it. Might be easier because you're chopping. And I'll continue doing this with all 4. And after we do that, then I'll show you the next step. Okay, I'm going to continue cutting up the 4th potato. Like I said, this in paper thin you want it. And we got all 4. It looks something like this. So while we're waiting, like you said, for our ham and to finish boiling, we got our sauce made, and that's put to the side. I'm going to put this now to the side, and we're going to go back to the stove top and do the cheese sauce that goes over our scalloped potatoes, and I'm going to be putting it into this round pan. Okay, so let's go to the stove top. So what we're going to be doing now is our cheddar cheese sauce to go over our scalloped potatoes. So I got 2 tablespoonfuls of butter, and into a preheated pan. You don't want it too hot because you don't want to burn your butter, but hot enough where it's going to get it started. And it's going to be 2 tablespoonfuls of flour. And that's going to go on top of it because we're going to make a sauce. And we want for it to be able to thicken. That's going to look something like this. And next, we're going to add a cup of milk. We're going to gradually pour this into it and just stir it around until all of your flour is broke down and starting to thicken your sauce. So you're going to continue stirring it and let it start to thicken. We got 2 cups of grated cheddar cheese that's going to go directly into this sauce, and we're going to let this melt down and continue mixing and get all of it broke down and starting to thicken. We're going to break 1 egg and put into a 1/4 cup of water and stir that around so it's all mixed into that, and slowly move this into, pour this into your water, mixing it because you don't want it to scramble. So you're going to pour it in until it's all mixed through. Okay, so we're going to continue stirring it in. Like you said, you don't want for this egg to scramble your sauce. You just want it all to be combined into it. So you continue stirring it until it starts to thicken. Remember to keep stirring. You don't want to stop stirring until it starts to thicken. We're going to have about 4 or 5 grates of pepper, and 3 grates of salt is good, because picnic ham is usually a little salty even though you boil most of it off, and it definitely takes it off. But you want your scalloped potatoes to at least have a little bit of salt into it to help balance out those flavors. So I'm continuing on stirring here now, and I'm not going to over stir, but just until it starts to thicken, and then turn the heat off. And then what we're going to do is pour it over our potatoes, and I'll show you how that's done. Okay, now back to making our scalloped potatoes. I'm going to put about a teaspoonful of olive oil in the bottom of my pan, and I'm going to start to layer the potatoes into it. And the olive oil is basically helping your potatoes not to burn to the bottom. Sometimes in a glass pan it tends to burn a little bit, but that's up to you which pan you want to use. So we're going to do 1 layer first, and I'm going to do a little grate of pepper and pour a tiny little bit of our sauce, because you want all of this cheddar cheese goodness to be right through every layer, okay? And I got an extra cup of shredded cheese off to the side, and it could be mozzarella or just cheddar cheese, but I got a mix of cheese here. I'm just going to put a little bit there because I want to top it off with the most at the end. So you're going to layer it again, continue doing that until all of your potatoes cover the cheddar cheese sauce. Smells delicious in here, by the way. That's something that I can't share with you because, you know, I only can tell you how it smells. So I'm going to pour another little layer of that sauce. Of course, you can go buy a store-bought scalloped potatoes, or you can buy the packages, but this is so much more rewarding if you're going to do a dinner, baked ham dinner, and with scalloped potatoes. You want to do your own. You appreciate it more, and it don't take a long time. Okay, so that's that. Not a little grate. I'm not going to do no salt because, like you said, the cheese got a little bit of salt in it. Just going to put a little tiny layer there. Cheese got salt, and I used butter. I used non-salted butter. This last bit of sauce there, and we're going to top it off with the shredded cheese. And like you said, you can use as much or as less in cheddar cheese or shredded cheese as you want. We're going to put this in the oven at 350 degrees and probably for about 40 minutes, because you want for your potatoes to be cooked uncovered. Let it all just bake that way, and then I'll let you know the next step when we take it out. Okay, so let's check our scalloped potatoes. My buzzer just went off and I'm thinking that it's done. It looks like it's all done. Now I'm going to take it out and place it on my counter and let it rest. Okay, so I'm going to cover the scalloped potatoes with a nice big piece of foil wrap, and this is to keep it nice and warm and let it rest until we're ready to serve it with our baked ham. Okay, the 2 hours are up on our boiled ham, so I'm going to take this off to eat now, and I'm going to safely take this ham out of this boiler, and I'll show you what our next step will be. Okay, now it comes to time. We'll start cutting this casing off our ham. They put a net on there to keep it all in place, but I'm certain it's just to torment whoever is cooking it. So just cut this off and then pop it out of the net as such. Just put that to the side. Now what we want to do, we want to take this fat off. We don't want to keep that on there, so you're going to cut this off. It's the purpose behind boiling the ham before we bake it is to get all of this ready. The fat needs to come off. Anything that's not needed, because when you bake it in the oven you want it right ready to cut up and eat. So continue cutting it off and then toss this away and throw away this net as well. So we're just going to place that to the side. Our next step will be to put a medium onion. I got to cut into round pieces as such. You're gonna baste the bottom of your roaster. I have quite a large roaster, and one with a lid, and it's going to look something like this. And then we're going to take our ham and bring over into the roaster as such. And what I want to do now, I want to cut little shavings into it. Just make it sliced like this. You don't need to cut it all the way through. This is just so when we put our glaze over it, it's going to go down through the ham as well. So it's going to look something like this. My oven is preheated, so that's ready to go. Now you're going to take your glaze that you made earlier, which was a cup of brown sugar, and it had cornstarch, a can of crushed pineapples or cube pineapples, whichever you prefer to use. You're going to pour this all over the top. Make sure nice helpings going in through those cuts, because you want for this to get glazed right on through. So you're going to put this over there. Have all of your pineapples on top. Putting that to the side, I'm going to reach for my black pepper. Even though I had put a tablespoonful of peppercorn into the boil when I boiled it with half a boiler of water, it had a medium onion cubed up, and it had a tablespoonful of peppercorn, I still want it over the top that I'm baking. So we got this nice and ready. This is optional. What I'm going to do here now, this is cherries, is red cherries you would use for baking with them. I'm just going to put it over the top. It's mainly really for garnish, for look, but I put about 6 or 8 over the top, and then you'll have this with the ham when you take it out to go to serve it, because this is also for flavor, and it kind of looks nice. So I'm also going to put 1 cup of water, not over the top, I'm going to put it in the bottom. So it's going to help lift the onion that I put in the bottom, and my ham is not going to burn. And that's the purpose of the onion as well, for flavor and also to help stop it from burning. I'm going to put it in the oven on a 350-degree heat for 1 hour. Half an hour uncovered and a half an hour covered. So I'm going to put it in first uncovered. So I want to start to brown it off. So okay, meet me back here in a few. Okay, welcome back to Bonita's kitchen. I'm going to be taking the ham is done now, so I'm going to be taking it now out of my roaster. Put it there in this platter. Oh my goodness, never delicious. I'm going to pour some of the juices over, not all of them, because the ham may create a little bit more juice after it starts to cook in the oven. I'll move this pan out of my way. We don't need that anymore. I'll take my gloves off and bring this here closer. Put this here because I'm going to carve some off now, and we're going to cut out a plate. Now remember, it took at least 2 hours for boiling. It could be frozen or non-frozen, it doesn't matter. I'm going to cut off 2 slices here now. And then when you take it out of your pot, you want to make sure you're very, very careful you don't burn yourself, because it is quite hot when you take it out and put it into your roaster. Okay, so now I'm going to take a helping of some peas and the scalloped potatoes that we did just a little bit earlier, and we put in, we covered it with foil wrap. And take a helping of our scalloped potatoes and put here on the side. Now this is as good as it gets. Remember that the time that it took to make this is probably a lot better than if we went out for something takeout. Scalloped potatoes, if you want to rewarm it, if you cook it first, you could rewarm it for a couple of minutes. But if you want to put both of it in the oven at one time, just remember that the scalloped potatoes is only 40 minutes and you want to take it out and cover it. Please try this recipe. It's absolutely delicious, and I'm sure your family will approve. I'm going to take a little tiny taste here now. Tasty, juicy, absolutely delicious. Now, again, please, thank you for visiting Bonita's kitchen. Share this recipe with your family and friends. The video will be posted on YouTube, and up in the top right hand corner is a subscribe button. Click on the subscribe button, and every time I make a new dish, a new traditional Newfoundland dish, I'll post it there and it'll go directly to you as a subscriber. The recipe will be put on the bottom of the video so that you can follow that if you're not sure of the recipe that I'm saying. So thank you again for joining me for Bonita's Kitchen. You have a wonderful day.